Alright, so today I have myself the Corsair Scimitar gaming mouse. Boom. Let's go ahead and see how she does and put her through the paces. Alright guys, so first glance at the mouse, you can already tell it has more of this MMO, MOBA look to it, especially with the functionality with all these extra buttons. Buttons all over the place. Buttons up the wazoo, but hopefully not literally up your wazoo because that would be awkward. Overall, black aesthetic, matte finish, velvety feeling, soft touch. I have a rubberized area here for your finger, ring finger kind of area, pinky-ish. Not a free scrolling wheel or anything like that, but it does illuminate along with the Corsair logo. Back to the sails, good to see that. No more crab thing. And here are your plethora of extra buttons for whatever you want to map them for. Just, their heart's content. I'll point out right now immediately that for me, I'm going to probably be using this for OBS, like switching live scenes and whatnot. So much easier. Maybe even Adobe Premiere for mapping this for shortcuts. Therefore making my editing workflow, a lot more, streamlined, seamless. Now this goes up to 12,000 DPI with its onboard optical sensor. It's got mechanical switches, funny enough, for the, hopefully I don't disable my audio by pressing something. But mechanical switches for these extra buttons here, very nice. And this also comes with a key slider. You go underneath here, you're going to use the included, I keep thinking I'm turning off my audio. You're going to want to use your included little Allen wrench key right here. Go underneath, and that way you can slide this, depending if you have small hands, bigger hands, your thumb extends further or more far back. Whatever you're more comfortable with, depending on your hand size, you can slide that forward and back. Now, this does come with a software, I believe, the Corsair engine, I believe. It's something like that. But I will be looking at that at the end of the video here. Now, as for illuminated areas, I already mentioned the logo, the scroll wheel. You have a little bit of illumination here as well by the macro buttons here on the side. That corresponds with this DPI setting. So whatever you switch with your DPI switches here, you are going to be getting different lights there to signify what DPI setting you're on. And of course, you can switch that around to your heart's content from within the software. You have one more illuminated spot right here, the right hand kind of corner edge, top edge of the mouse. The feet are kind of polyethylene feet. They seem good enough and they're pretty quick as far as it being on a mouse pad. I don't notice it now recently, but honestly at first when I got the mouse a couple weeks ago, because I have made this my daily driver to break it in and see how I like it. Now that I'm actually talking about that before I forget, it feels great in the hand. I have about medium-ish hands, not small, not enormous, and I can palm this and claw, but the contour of the mouse, it's kind of more rounded. It's not so much super contoured for fingers specifically. It has obviously a little rested area here for your ring finger with a little rubberized finish, but it feels very nice. Now, does it glide all that well on whether this extended desk pad here or the Raise the World, you should look at the epicpants.com, whether they Raise the World mouse pad, it glides pretty good, and I'm totally making things go nuts over here, but it's not as fast as maybe I think it should be. I don't know, it's okay. It's alright. It's nothing for me to really complain about. But I did want to point out at first, I don't notice it now, maybe it's just, I can even see it here, but a couple fibers getting stuck in the sensor area. But I think it's because it seems to catch every now and then on the mouse pad material. Like maybe these little ridges down here or what's catching, I'm not sure. Maybe this particular sample that came my way, maybe something isn't quite flush here enough so it doesn't catch. I don't notice it now, but anyway. Now braided cable, for those that care, it's really rigid. It might, I don't know. It's durable that way, but not super flexible, and everyone's got their own taste as far as do you prefer braided cables, the rigidity of it, the durability of it, or something more soft and easier to get out of the way, I guess. So it all depends on your preference there. I went ahead and unplugged it really quick, but I had it on the front panel, not the most ideal place to have it. But the one thing I also don't like is the plug. It's kind of cumbersome, it's kind of big. Putting this alongside other ports in the back with other USB connected peripherals or whatnot, it does bump. It takes up a lot of space. Did it need to be this big? No. Yellow, the whole yellow accent, that doesn't really bug me. At least it helps you identify which one's your mouse. But it's a little bit cumbersome, a little bit big. It doesn't need to be that freaking big. It's not gold plated. Doesn't really matter. That's more so about how many times you're going to take it in and out of your port so it doesn't degrade, I suppose, the connection. but the gold plated, and that doesn't really matter so much. Unless the port, the connector itself is a bit fat, it's a little big here, so yeah, don't really like that. Now, I didn't point out in the beginning, but this is an RGB mouse. However, what's the one problem if you do an RGB peripheral, or really anything RGB? You want things and colors and a theme, whatever theme you want to go for, especially if it's RGB, because you can switch it up anytime you want. You want things to meld together, right? What's this yellow? Corsair. I'm not going to slam you really hard on it, but maybe I should. If you're going to make an RGB peripheral, why give it an accent at all? Gray, white, a very neutral color? Okay, that's easier to forgive and easier to get by, but yellow, red, or whatever you would have decided to put here? This is RGB. This is going to be rainbowy or whatever color I want. So is the logo, the scroll wheel, this little area over here. But then I always have yellow. Don't do that. Probably a lot of people may not care. Maybe you have the mouse long enough, you're not going to really notice the yellow anymore. I don't know. But nonetheless, an RGB peripheral with a color that stands out, that's only going to match with certain themes that you may want to go for, that's off-putting and kind of defeating the purpose. So maybe another iteration of this in the future, or offer another option where this does not have a yellow. Now, the yellow one's what I got, so maybe if I actually double-checked, there's probably one without yellow, but as of the filming of this video, I have not observed that there's one that is not yellow. But overall, guys, the mouse is nice, and it's an exceptional mouse in more ways than not. It's definitely a keeper in my book. It feels great. The RGB function, all the features are nice, except a few caveats or cons really, that I pointed out. The theme here that they're going for, the yellow, it's kind of clashing with whatever you may want to go for, being that it's RGB. But the macro buttons, I don't play MMOs and MOBAs, but for productivity, from a productivity standpoint, this is awesome. Whether you're a live streamer, all your hotkeys right here, you don't have to be clickety-clacking on your keyboard, whatever you have, or pausing much of whatever you're doing just to reach over and do some other combination on your keyboard or click something else elsewhere, where you can just maybe, hopefully, map it very cleverly and intelligently right here. So it doesn't even have to be for gaming. You can look at this as totally from a work standpoint, a work point of view. And this will help you get a lot done. Now, I haven't mapped a whole lot personally myself. If you guys like to see a separate video where I actually map a bunch of this for maybe Adobe, OBS, a nice little tutorial, that'd be more original content from the Tech Syndicate crew right there. So yeah, that might be an idea. Like I said, overall the mouse feels good. I like it. It's been my daily driver, and I'm not really have any major complaints aside from what I already pointed out. So if they can fix that, sort of appeal to more people perhaps, because I like RGB. Yes and no. I'm not going for a particular thing, but I like the RGB option, on my peripherals, whatever they are, because who knows what mood I might be in. Maybe I'll be in a rave mood someday, or a Soylent Green mood. Ew. But nonetheless, if they're going to offer that option, don't have something clash and kind of defeat the purpose at the same time. So let's go ahead and actually check out the software and glaze over that for a little bit. Alright, so here we have the Corsair utility engine, I believe it's called. And a Corsair gaming logo here. And nice to see the sails back, no more of that crabby thing going on. But either way, here you have button assignments, all your macros here for the corner, the side of the mouse there. You can assign anything and everything under the sun here to whatever you want. And what I really like about this, I'm not a huge MMO guy, person, whatever. But I may have already said this earlier in the video, but I could really use this for scene selection, hotkeys for Adobe Premiere, shortcuts for that, or for OBS, which I'm using now to capture this window. So imagine I'm doing a live stream and whatnot, I want to switch between scenes. I have so many options to do it right here with all these buttons, and that's the beauty of at least this mouse for my use case. So you got all your assignments here. Lighting, right now I just have it in a very simple rainbow, because I don't really care, I guess. And all these are pretty much set to rainbow, including the lighting for the macro keys, the lighting for the scroll wheel, and the same for, well, the front light there, and the logo. About the only light that doesn't change is going to be the little light that's kind of in between the little yellow area over here. You can't really see it. The little light that's actually to the left, to the front of these buttons, that's the only one that you can't change, because that's going to tell you your DPI. Speaking of DPI, here we go. Next one, set it to whatever you want, up to 12K. And that, whoop, it's not moving, man. Can you move? Like, there we go. Thank you. Now, quickly, I want to point out the software has frozen on me a few times. A little less than half of the time. It hasn't lately, but it has a few times. It's hung up on me where I have to either, you know, force quit the program through Task Manager or whatnot, or I unplug the mouse and I plug it back in and then all of a sudden it works. So it could be the software or perhaps the internal memory of the mouse, you know, something going on in there. But either way, that is something to point out. So we'll see if that continues. Over here to the left, you got your profiles. Very obvious there. You have a lot of mice that, you know, I want to load up a profile for a specific game, specific program that you're working with maybe. So your button assignments automatically change. You're not there doing each one at a time all the time. Import, export profiles that maybe you had before. Maybe on another system with a Corsair mouse. And if I remember correctly, this will work with several Corsair peripherals. So one engine, one piece of software for a mouse, keyboard, and such. And you'll get, I thought I saw them here before. But I did remember seeing like little logos down here, maybe for the different devices that you have connected. But here you have your actions for your macros, everything. Description, summary, blah, 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 media control, and do all that jazz. Yeah. Now for more in-depth lighting, solid gradient, just do everything under the sun here as far as lighting is concerned. In settings here, you can update your program. You want the actual program here to, you know, its behavior and whatnot. You want it to start up on system startup, which I don't see why you wouldn't want it. So enable 16.8 million colors. I would have that clicked, but I don't know. I mean, it's working fine so far, but the on-screen display settings, color transparency, media players, if you have certain profiles set up for that. I don't really have any media players right now because I don't care. Macro recording. And yeah, then your device firmware, if you ever have to update that, you could be doing that right over here. You want to change your polling rate if you really want to tinker with that, and there you go. And for support, you know, you got all your stuff here, and it even gives you a little system summary of more of your rig right here, which is nice. You know, you ever know where to look, you got a little rough summary of it right here. Overall, the program is very in-depth. It's very intuitive. You get a lot of options here, but it's not too crazy to the point that you're going to get yourself lost. I like the options here. The color lighting. Now, again, I said it earlier, rainbow or whatever color you want, Corsair, guys, stop putting accented colors on your peripherals if they're going to be RGB. I may have said this once or twice already in the rest of the video. If I haven't, then I should have, but it even has the yellow right here. Don't give me RGB if you're going to give me a solid color of any kind, unless it's a white or gray, maybe a more neutral color that's going to meld with whatever other color you use, then maybe, sure, yeah. Very neutral colors. But anything specific, like especially a yellow, man, you know, a yellow, red, green, blue, it's going to clash with anything else, you know, that I may want to put. So, yeah, remember, guys, feedback. They'll listen if you guys bitch enough about it. So, it matters. You want your RGB, but you don't want to clash. It matters. So yeah, that's been the Corsair Scimitar RGB gaming mouse. Nice little doodad. I like it. And yeah, if you guys want to go ahead and follow, get more information on the mouse, check the description below for all the pertinent links. But go ahead and click on these links here on the side of the video. Tech support, buy us a beer, coffee, whatever you'd like. Check us out on the forum, techsyndicate.com. We're always hanging out there. You have any questions, we'd be more than likely to answer them for you. Just come hang out with us, talk, chit-chat. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe. So follow up, subscribe to the channel for more Tech Syndicate content, but check out the website, especially if you want to comment. Because YouTube comments, kind of swillish, you know, you got everybody trolling now and then. So you want to come hang out, actually get your stuff, your concerns or questions answered, or just have an intellectual conversation with your fellow tech brethren, if you will. Stop by techsyndicate.com. And Land Syndicate coming up this April. Don't forget, this year, we're already on 2016, a couple months away. If you want to join in on that, epicpants.com. Get your tickets now. See you guys in the next video.